What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Meet the Team. Sean Flack 2.0 could not host today's episode, unfortunately, but for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm H2O Worker 1, and today we have a special episode planned. But before we bring on today's guest, let us take care of some business. Who are we? We're Shadowpack Gaming. We represent streamers and content creators from around the world whose sole purpose is to bring you the highest level of streaming entertainment and content creation. We're here on YouTube, and you can also find us on all the major socials. All that info will be in the description below. We also have recently launched our website, shadowpackgaming.com. You can head there for our latest YouTube videos, Instagram posts, featured streamers, streamer profiles, and the latest news and event info for the team. The Shadowpack Gaming, that's shadowpackgaming.com. And without further delay, let's bring on today's guest. Here with us from via satellite, we've got TheWookieeWins. How's it going, bud?
How's it going, everybody?
How's your day going so far?
Hey, pretty good. You know, I'm home. I'm relaxing. Can't beat that, right?
No, not at all. Any fun things planned for the rest of your week?
Lots of gaming. I'm a hockey fan. Lots of hockey to watch through this week.
This is true.
Unfortunately, football's over. Unfortunately, can't watch any of that until next summer.
Eesh, August.
Yeah.
So before we get, what was that?
We'll be here before you know it, though.
Yeah. August does come through like in a blink of an eye. So before we get into all of our questions that we have for you today, go ahead and tell us a little bit about you, TheWookieeWins.
Well, I am from the Bronx. I'm of an age I'm not really comfortable mentioning as of right now. Let's just say I'm one of the older members of the team.
Definitely part of that hashtag dad life, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Been gaming for quite some time, probably from the late 80s, the NES era and on. And, you know, it's just been a big passion of mine, you know. Even at my age, I still love to kind of sit down, put my feet up, and enjoy a nice video game.
Awesome. I love it. So let's get right into our questions, all right? What does your setup look like, Wookie?
Right now, my setup is a little bit on the bare bones side. I have my nice gaming PC. I only have one monitor right now. I've got a flat screen TV that I use as my monitor. I've got my PS4, my Xbox One, my Switch, you know, all the basic consoles. And you know, that's about it.
So you said you have a gaming PC. What kind of gaming PC do you have?
I recently bought myself a CyberPower PC, and it's been running better than I could even possibly imagine. I basically went from an office PC that couldn't run anything to a gaming PC that runs everything.
So for some of our techies out there, right, kind of tell us what some of the guts of your gaming PC are, if you know off the top of your head.
You know, that's something I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not really big of a techie. I don't know what goes inside a PC. All I know is that like it runs a lot of the higher end games that I have flawlessly, and it's such a welcome change from trying to run these things on a basic office PC and just having them run like crap if they ran at all.
Right. So it's a lot like me when I sit here and I look up my what I would love to have. It's like, ooh, shiny. Like, you know, when it comes to gaming PCs, I shop by color. So let's go. So segueing into our next question, right, is if money wasn't a thing, which obviously it's always going to be, but let's say you hit that mega millions from last month, right? What would your dream setup be?
Well, first and foremost, it would to be having a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X right now, which I don't even know if hitting the lottery would help. You know, you'd have to be born under the right sign to
Right.
get them at this point. I'm probably waiting until 2025 to get my hands on one of those. But outside of that, you know, I'm happy with the PC I have. I probably get, you know, 2 or 3 screens to work with so that I'm not like, staring into the TV, trying to, look at my Streamlabs and whatnot, have something for my chat, the second screen for the game itself, better camera, better microphone, more USB ports. I could use something like that. I've got my eye on
Right.
a nice USB hub.
I just got one
Uh,
for Christmas myself.
so, just basically better standard equipment would be the first step.
Okay. Okay. So you've got your setup. You are definitely a game enthusiast, right? You've been doing this, you
That
said,
I am.
for umpteen amount of years, right?
Correct.
So how does that translate into your stream? What kind of streamer are you?
I classify myself as a little bit of a casual streamer at this point. I'm just looking to have fun, connect with anybody that comes into the chat room, wants to be a part of the community, that maybe likes the same games that I do. That's pretty much the point of this, just to kind of like have fun.
Okay, so typically when we ask like what kind of streamer you are, we have either your gameplay streamer, which those are the individuals who can sit here and literally forget about their lobby because their gameplay is so good, or you've got our, which most of us are, your community streamer, which is here more for the people in your lobby, focusing more on them and interacting with them. Which one of those two would you say you are?
I'd say more of a community streamer.
Okay.
I would say more try and be like that balance of a little bit of both, focus on the game and the community at the same time. But I do find more pleasure connecting with my audience, and anybody in the chat room. You know, they're the reason we do this, right?
Right. Right. Definitely, definitely. So, what does your content consist of as a community streamer?
I try to be a variety streamer. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time, so I like a lot of the retro stuff, the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis stuff. But I do have my fair share of newer, current games. So I try to do a little bit of everything, and I cover a lot of different genres too. Your RPGs, fighters, shooters. Basically, I'll give anything a shot, whether I'm good at it or not.
So, what's your current game that you're getting down on right now?
I've been playing a lot of Tom Clancy's The Division 2. It
Classic.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It's
Um
it's probably one of my favorite more current games to play. And even though I'm kind of like in the end game right now, and it does get a little repetitive, I still love playing. I can play it to the end of time, really.
and they're getting ready to release that mashup too. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. They did already release the crossover content with Resident Evil, another one of my favorite genres, one of my favorite
Heck
series to
yeah.
play. And I'm looking forward to getting everything I can out of that.
I am definitely going to need to get that expansion because I am massively in love with the Division and the Division 2. But for some reason I just haven't turned it on in a while and I need to change that. Definitely need to change that.
I get like that with a lot of games. That excuse me, I can start a game and get into it a little bit, but then I'll get stuck at a certain point or something else comes out, and then that first game kind of like sits on the shelf and gathers dust for a while.
Right. Right. Um so speaking of your content, right? So my next question is how were you introduced into streaming?
Well, Twitch has always been a pretty big platform when it came to streaming, and around the time I got my PS4, however many years ago, they had announced that they were integrating the Twitch support into the system, and I think that was really my introduction to streaming itself. That's how I kind of discovered it and really got into it in the first place.
Okay. Why did you decide to start streaming?
That's a very simple answer, and I'm sure it's the same answer that a lot of people will give at this point. When we were sitting in quarantine and had nothing better to do with the pandemic other than kind of like sit at home and stare at the TV, I followed a lot of different streamers and I said, I want to do that. It looked like a lot of fun, and it has been.
Okay, so actually I'm going to do a follow-up question on that. How long have you been streaming?
I've been on Twitch. Actually, this past Friday made 7 years that I've been on the platform, and I've been kind of like off and on with it from that time, but I've really been streaming since last summer, since 4th of July weekend.
Okay. Well, happy anniversary, 7-year anniversary on your stream, right?
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
And here's obviously to many, many more, right?
Thank you. That's the
Um,
plan, hopefully.
so with that many, many more, where do you see the future of your stream going? Are you thinking more of like an enthusiast or more of going the professional route of things?
Well, if everything goes according to plan, if everything works out perfectly, I would like to be a professional streamer. I would like to make a name for myself and be a household name at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, bringing the team with me, like have us all have that level of success as some of the bigger streamers in the industry.
Right. So, as a professional streamer, what would you say your short-term goals are?
Short term is to just build more of a following. Like I've been doing okay from the last 6 or 7 months, but there's still work to be done. Eyes on my streams, followers, and whatnot. That's basically where I want to start. Building the community more than what I have right now.
Right, right. What about long-term goals?
Long term, I want to be a household name. I want to be one of those bigger names like a Ninja or Shroud. Anything like that. I want to be big.
Right.
I'm sure that that's pretty much the goal for all of us.
Definitely. I mean, I know as the leader of Shadow Pack, that's my goal for all of you, right?
Right.
That I'd love to get you guys all to become that household name, which in turn gets us to be a household name. So,
Correct.
um, but in the aspect of being a streamer, right? So let's not talk about anything else, but other than in your stream, what would you say your strengths are?
my I feel like my biggest strength is how I engage my audience. Like anybody that comes to chat with me, I I love having them there. I'll talk to them about what I'm playing, what they like. You know, I'm one of the. You can talk to me about anything. Ask me about my day. Tell me about how your day is going, the things that you like. I try to be a people person, and I feel like that's one of my biggest strengths when it comes to building the community and being a streamer,
Awesome.
being personable.
I mean, especially for being a community streamer, you kind of have to have that personable position about
Right,
you, right?
right.
So, I can attest that I have definitely seen that from you, and it is actually a very nice, relaxing time jumping into your stream. So,
Appreciate
um,
that.
outside of a,
The unfortunate
go
thing.
ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. One of the unfortunate things about being a bigger name, sometimes you forget where you come from and you forget about the little people that get you there. I don't want to be that person. I want to
Right.
be the one to be very thankful and very grateful of my following, of my community, of the people that subscribe to me, follow me, or even if you just come into the chat room and say hello. Every little bit counts. And to this point, I am forever thankful for everybody that got me to where I am right now.
Awesome. And that's definitely something that you need to be able to keep in mind as you go throughout your career is that thankfulness. Remember who gave you the tips and tricks to get you to where you're at in the future, um excuse me.
Never
Sorry
forget
about
where
that.
you came from.
Exactly. 100%. So, moving on down the list of questions, right? Outside of equipment, okay? What is the hardest thing for you as a streamer?
Making time. It's been hard balancing a full time job and streaming. You probably know better than anybody. You come home from work and all you want to do is sit down, put your feet up, and grab a beer with the TV on. Uh, it Finding the time and the energy sometimes is the hardest part.
You forgot the third thing that you have to do. I mean, you're a family man. You do have that again, the kids. That's another full-time job that you have to turn around and
But yeah,
and end up juggling as well. Which I've got
that's
three
true.
I've got three fur babies and they take up a good amount of
Oh,
time too.
yeah, they I don't have. I mean, my family had dogs all through when I was growing up, and we don't have as many around anymore. But I can attest to that. That pets basically become like your kids, and they are just as much of a handful. I don't want that to come off the wrong way, but it's just as much work raising a pet as it is anybody like a child.
But then turning around and being able to take, like, in your position, right, working a full-time job, being a father, a husband, and then turning around and trying to find that stream. How do you do that? Like, I mean, is that something that you find excruciatingly difficult, or is it something that you and your family have kind of sat down and have discussed to better work out that kinks? I mean, I know that's not some of the questions that we've gone through in our past interviews, but knowing that I'm a husband, I'm a full-time work enforcement, right? I
Right.
know what I had to go through in order to be able to sit here and stream, right? How difficult slash easy is that with you and your family?
Well, it's not that difficult. It not so much the family thing. It's more just so like the energy part of it. Like I'm sure you've had plenty of days where you just want to sit down and do nothing. That's really one of the hardest things with me. Like I'll come home, I'll sit down, and I don't want to move, or
Right.
like I'll throw my pajamas on and just get in bed with the TV remote all night until I pass out. But this is something I like to do, and it's about finding that motivation to do it.
Right.
And just got to push yourself.
Now, so based off of that, what is your current schedule consist of? Like, how many days a week are you typically streaming?
I try to stream at least 3 or 4 days a week.
Okay.
Ideally, in a perfect situation, I would do more, 5, 6 every day of the week. But
Yeah.
maybe if my in real life situation changes a little bit, maybe my stream changes up a little bit.
Well, and you have to be
But for
careful
right
not
now,
to burn yourself out either.
well, yes, that's true too. That's the one thing as a streamer you have to be careful of. And I've heard plenty of stories about that. That people that do this full time, that they do it 5, 6, 7 days a week, they burn themselves out pretty easily. So yeah, you want to push yourself to do this. You want to build the following and whatnot, but you have to listen to your body too.
Right. So let's kind of gear things away from streaming for just a second, even though I know that's why we're all here in the first place, right? But outside of streaming and outside of picking up that controller and gaming, whether it be on a console, computer, or your phone, what does the WookieWins do for fun?
I'll show you. That I don't know if you can see right there pretty well, but I am a New Yorker. I am a
It
huge
sounds like
hockey
I
fan.
think it says the Anaheim Ducks on there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. I being a New Yorker, I love my New York sports. I love the Rangers. I love the Yankees, the Giants. So basically, when I'm not streaming, I'm not playing video games. I'm watching whatever it is that's in season. Being in New York, I love exploring the city under normal circumstances. Of course, it's been hard to kind of like get out and do things and see things with the situation in the world. But I found myself plenty of times just getting on the train, heading into Manhattan, and wandering around, taking in the sights.
Nice. Very nice. I didn't even think that that was doable right now with the whole climate up there.
That's another thing about me. I love the cold weather, so I am in my element right now, and
Me
more likely
too.
to. They, and here I thought I was the only one. I get so many strange looks when I get told when I tell people that I love the winter.
Okay, so
I'm more I'm more likely to do something like that now than I am in the summer when it's like 100 degrees, and I'd rather just like sit in my air conditioning and not move.
I'm from Southern California, right? Huntington Beach, California. And now about 3 years ago, I moved to Northeast Tennessee. Okay. And
Okay.
the clear and I've been working in the water industry, like fixing leaks that spray 60, 70 feet in the air for almost 11 years. It'll be 11 years in July. Okay. I can tell you the shock that I went through working my first actual winter in
Hmm.
water in Northeast Tennessee was an eye
Oh, I can
opener.
imagine going from California to that. I'm sure it was quite the shock to the system.
It really was. But I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't change working in the winter for anything else in the world. I would actually prefer working with what I do outside every day. I prefer it in the winter than I do in the summer. Hands down.
100%. 100%. And a story that I've told people, being a hockey fan and loving the winter, I've actually been to two separate outdoor NHL games involving the Rangers in the middle of the winter. I did one in Yankee Stadium against the New Jersey Devils. I think that was towards the end of January one year. And then I did another game at Citi Field where the Mets play. That was on New Year's Day against the Buffalo Sabres, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.
So I got to go to the first ever outdoor Ducks game in Anaheim, right?
Oh,
A couple
wow.
years ago. That was obviously against our rivals, the Kings.
I remember that. I do
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah. I was actually at that game, and I've actually been playing hockey, right, since I was about 7 years old up until I moved to Tennessee, right? So up until about 3 years ago, I was actually playing. I've got about $1,600 worth of equipment sitting in that closet over there behind my computers that is now actually useless because I'd have to drive an hour and a half just to go play in any kind of
Right.
league. But yeah, there's nothing like sitting in the stands in a hockey game.
No,
Nothing like it in the
no.
world.
And that's the one thing that I miss the most through this whole pandemic situation. I miss the excitement and the atmosphere of being at a live hockey game.
Right. I'm right there with you. I miss it. I told my wife has been to a hockey game. She's actually been to quite a few hockey games, but I've got quite a few friends around here that have never been in their lives. And so
I tell
I'm
people you go to one live game, you're a fan for life.
oh yeah, I'm gonna take them to a Preds game, right? Predators,
Nice.
which I mean that nowadays that's a decent team to go watch for
Oh yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
So let's get off hockey back onto the questions at hand, okay?
If we have to.
I know, right? What is something that you, the WookieWins, would like the world to know about you?
That's a tough question. Um, I guess I just want the world to know that like I'm passionate about doing this. I love doing this, the streaming, the engaging with my community and whatnot. It's something that if this were as big when I was in my teens and 20s as it is now, it's something that I would have turned into a career by now. I would have put a lot more time and effort back then, and hopefully, point where I am now, I would be that household name and whatnot. But unfortunately, as I tell people sometimes, I was born in the wrong decade. Um, that's really the thing. Like I even as an older streamer, this is something I love to do.
Right. Okay. So now here comes to the ever important questions. Okay. Last two questions that we have. Why should people come to your stream?
Because I'm awesome. That's why. No, I'm kidding. It goes back to what I said before. I love engaging with my audience. I feel like if you come watch my streams, you're going to have a good time, joke around, um, be yourself, kick back, and just watch me be terrible with certain video games.
That's always fun to watch. So
Yeah.
that's why people should come to your stream. But why should they come back?
I think that's an even tougher question.
It
But
is.
I treat my viewers and my community like family. You should come back because you always have a place to stay in my streams, in my community and whatnot. All shapes, colors, races, creeds. You should feel like you're welcome in my streams, in my world. I welcome everybody with open arms.
Okay, very nice. Well, so I lied. I do have one more question for you. Okay. Let's
Right ahead.
say anyone who's watching this right now would love to keep up to date with you. get in touch with you on your social medias or whatever, what social medias do you have?
I am pretty much on all the social medias. I am on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Facebook, I just created a gaming profile and my personal profile. Instagram's the same way. I've got a gaming profile and a personal. You can find me on Discord. Pretty much like any social media outlet there is, I'm there.
And what is
And
your usernames on those?
you can find me pretty much on everything at TheWookieeWins.
So everything at the Wookie
Twitter,
Wins.
Twitter, Twitter, Twitter is the only different one. You can find me at Wookie_wins.
Okay. So, guys, if you missed that, you could definitely sit here and rewind that for the last couple seconds and get all that information. Or we're going to go ahead and put it down below in the comment sections for you guys to be able to follow them up that way. Or you can come over to the Shadow Pack Gaming website, go to the tab that says the pack, go all the way down to the Wookie Wins, and there's a tab right there that says watch the Twitch stream, and it's going to send you straight to his page. Wookie, I do want to appreciate you for and thank you for taking some time out of your day today and talking with us.
My pleasure.
Is there any last words of wisdoms or anything that you would like to say before we go ahead and sign on out?
The only thing I have left to say is
awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going
to go ahead and switch back over here. We're going to now talk about the WookieWins instead of talking to him. All right, guys, that was the WookieWins, one of a very, very awesome team members that we have on the Shadow Pack Gaming content creator team. I, again, am H2O Worker 1. You can find us, everything about us, on our website, www.shadowpackgaming.com. Again, all the information that he said about where you guys can find him on his social medias will be posted down below in our comment section. Well, until next time, thank you for coming to this episode of Meet the Team. Bye, guys.